604 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, JP producing. Starting off your Tuesday at 59 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. And a busy Tuesday it is. It is a content overload Tuesday. Oh, by the way, heading down to New Orleans to get caught up on Helena Moreno's win on Saturday. Got a complete rebrand of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. Going to be calling it the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse at 7:35. Yeah, we're talking about what happened at LSU on Saturday night. And we're day 14 of Congress being shut down. Any longer than that, in the U.S. Capitol will be housing a Spirit Halloween store. So Congressman Troy Carter, D.C. Current, presented by LABI. That's coming up at the 8 o'clock hour. We got West Baton Rouge stopping by. We got it all, y'all. Let's get rolling. Top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Time, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments in Louisiana versus Calais. This is the redistricting case that gave us Cleo Fields' current district and could just as easily take it away.
Number 4.
Loved ones and law enforcement agencies from across the nation honored Iberville Parish Sheriff's Deputy Charles Riley at his funeral Monday in Gonzales. Riley's funeral at the Pace Center on St. Anthony Avenue in Gonzales started with a public viewing from noon to 2:45 before the public service actually started.
Number 3.
John Bell is out. The former two-term governor of Louisiana says he is not running for the U.S. Senate seat currently held by Bill Cassidy. So while the guessing is over for Edwards, this still leaves Democrats without a candidate in the race.
Number 2.
LSU and state officials said yesterday extra security would be in place for the Tigers' October 25th football game against Texas A&M. This is, of course, after gunfire was reported on and near campus for the second time this season. Ahead of Saturday's game against South Carolina, a man was arrested near Tiger Stadium after accidentally shooting himself in the leg. During the game, 2 people were injured in a shooting along Highland Road by the campus's north gates.
Number 1.
How about cleaning up on the interstate, y'all? Got this press release from the mayor's office yesterday. East Baton Rouge Parish and the State Department of Transportation have hired a pressure washing company to clean the sound walls that line I-10. According to the city parish, the project's going to happen in overnight hours. There might be some lane closures in order to accommodate work crews. What you got, JP?
Well, is the war over in Gaza? That's what President Trump declared yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's over. I mean, it's definitely in the stages of it.
Now they're just kind of turning on each other over there.
Right.
Got Hamas.
No.
Still.
Well, no. I mean, no. There's a ceasefire, so they're not turning on each other yet.
I just mean with like Hamas and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So no, that's it. We're on the way. Hopefully, we're on the way.
Yes, absolutely. Good news, man. Good news. Hey, apparently former President Joe Biden is receiving radiation treatment for an aggressive form of prostate cancer.
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah,
I did not know.
USA Today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look, you never want cancer for anybody,
No.
but I mean, the guy's 107 years old, so that's. I mean,
yeah, but yeah, still, nonetheless, man. Yeah, this is not good.
No.
Not good. Well, Stephen Colbert has announced his post talk show plans.
Okay.
We previously learned he would star in an episode of Elsbeth. Now we learn he is joining the cast of Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
Interesting.
That makes sense, though.
So
for him,
acting. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. We'll see how he can do with it. I mean, look, I've always found the guy funny, until he stopped being funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if Star Trek is a comedy, but okay. We'll see what we got.
I don't know. It seems like he'd fit right in.
You think?
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see. You'll be tuning in?
No. Not much of a Trek guy. Not much of a Star Trek guy. So. We're coming up on 6:11. We're coming up on 6:10 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. I want to make sure we leave plenty of room for sports because Brian Kelly had a lot to say yesterday at the press conference. We'll break that down a little bit. Before we take our break, I want to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank and landmarkbankla.com. Hey, small business owners, if you are in Dedham, if you're in Zachary, if you're in Brewley, if you're in Clinton, Where else are they at? I tell you what, go to landmarkbankla.com, hit the little About Us tab, the little drop-down menu right there, and see where the different locations of Landmark Bank are. If you are in one of those communities, you might want to think about having Landmark Bank handle your business banking. Why? Well, think back to COVID. If you got through COVID as a business, you know local banks were able to shine and shine regularly. Local banks and local bankers were working around the clock to make sure PPP loans kept you afloat. You got the kind of one-on-one service, the kind of hands-on relationship service that you're not going to get when, you're just a number on a spreadsheet. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website, LandmarkBankLA.com. All right, quick break, come back. We'll dive into the press conference next. I'll be right back.
Good morning, Facebook crew. Good morning, Renee. All right, you need a...
Ah! Closed everything. $6:13, about to roll over to 6:14. It's Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're on day 14 of the government shutdown. We will talk with Congressman Troy Carter at 8:30 this morning. We'll have a little bit of audio from Speaker Mike Johnson coming up in the next segment. Right now, though, it's time to hear from Coach Brian Kelly, who met with the media yesterday, as he does every Monday every Monday of a game week. And this is definitely a game week. LSU going on the road to take on a ranked opponent in Vanderbilt. But before we get to this coming week, let's take a little bit of a look back at last week. Coach Kelly, just his overall take of the performance.
You know, it wasn't a perfect game for us. We made some mistakes, but we overcame that. And if you really watch the film, we competed. We had guys running, flying around, playing physical. One of the top quarterbacks in the league felt us. I just really liked the way we competed. Now, our attention to detail has to be better. Our focus on certain things have to be much better. But I really like the fact that that mindset was there for our football team.
The goal is to work towards a complete game overall from top to bottom. And Coach Kelly says he knows where the weak spots are.
Some of the real foundational principles of being successful are in place. Some of the things that allow you to extend games and get away from your opponent, they're not in place. 73-yard run, yet we bottle up the run the whole game, but we're not in the right place when we should be. That's attention to detail. That's staying focused. Offensively, the turnovers, those are details that have to be cleaned up. Our tough territory coming out, we've got to be much better. We've got to set up field position with first downs in those tough territory areas. We have not been good enough there. We've put our defense in shorter fields because we haven't been able to get first downs needed when the ball is backed up. And, of course, in our blue zone, 5-yard going in, 10-yard going in, that clearly has to be much better. So we know the areas that we need to improve on. They're all very much within our grasp of doing so, but we're going to have to do it over this next stretch.
One of the areas that some might say needs improvement would be some of the decisions that Garrett Nussmeier was making. He threw 2 interceptions on Saturday, one of them, which is glaring. And really, if you look at it, the 20-10 could have easily been 34-10 if you don't have 2 turnovers. Essentially, 2 turnovers on the 1-yard line. The fumble was on the 1, and the interception happened basically at the goal line. What about Garrett Nussmeier and some of that decision-making? 7.
We're trying to balance this. He plays with a swagger, and he's better with a swagger, right? Don't know that he had that the previous weeks. Thought he was a little bit robotic. And we said, listen, you need to be Garrett Nussmeier. And he was. Unfortunately, some of that comes with some mistakes. I think that that's an aberration, the mistake that was in the red zone, and something that he would immediately say, I should have had my eyes on that safety, because that's my read. But I like the version of Garrett Nussmeier we saw. He was a lot more confident. He was a lot more active in the pocket. He, had an opportunity to run a couple of times. That's the version we want. We want to clean up those, what I would call uncharacteristic mistakes.
The decisions to run were really, really good decisions overall. Just that one pick. I mean, the other pick where the ball kind of sailed on him, I think most people understand that. That's just something that happens. But the one on the goal line was just brutal. It hurt. It stung a good bit. Meanwhile, time to focus on this coming week, taking the show on the road to Vanderbilt, taking the show to Nashville. What's Vanderbilt look like? What's their offense bring to the table?
We know what we're getting. Clark Lee, obviously, coached with me. He's an outstanding coach. He's a great communicator. He's process-driven, and you can see that in the way their football team plays. So we know where it starts with Pavia at quarterback, an outstanding quarterback. He's the point guard and makes it happen. Really impressed with Alexander's growth from last year to this year as a runner. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. Eli Stowers he's up there with, we're prejudiced because of our tight ends, but he is a top tight end in the country.
Okay, this is a number of weapons. Of course, the biggest weapon being quarterback Diego Pavia. How do you guard against him?
Make him one-dimensional. I think that those dual-threat quarterbacks, if they can do both, you're in trouble. So we've got to really do a great job in the running game. And not to say that he can't throw the ball, because he can. They average over 200 yards throwing the football. He's capable. But I think if you're trying to choose one or the other, he's going to kill you if he runs. So we're going to take the path that we need to be really good against the run and then put him in predictable situations. They're the best in the country in third down because they're in third and short most of the time. So we've got to get them off schedule. First down is really crucial for us. If we can get them, again, in second and third situations that are a little bit longer, we can be more predictive relative to the balance between run and pass.
All right, so let's give you the rundown for Saturday because things change up a little bit when you have an 11 a.m. kickoff. And by the way, Saturday will be an 11 a.m. kickoff on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Normally, Eagle 98.1 game day begins 5 hours before kickoff. The first 3 hours, you got Musso and Hanny and everybody who rolls through the pregame show. And then with 2 hours to go, they'll hand off to the network to pick things up for the pregame there. Well, 2 hours before kickoff, the network does pick up the pregame, but there is really no reason for Eagle 98.1's game day to be on before the sun comes up. So game day will start at 7, and instead of having a 3-hour pregame before the network, they will have a 3-hour postgame after the network. So 7 a.m. is when Eagle 98.1 game day starts. 9 o'clock, the network takes it over. 11 o'clock is kickoff in Nashville. Right now, we're coming up on 6:20 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP, which means we're going to check the Fox Business Report. I'll have a look at traffic for you in just a second. And then government shutdown, week 3 is here. Let's talk about it next. Sending you 4 cuts for this segment. Yep. All right, let's go ahead and start you off on I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. You got your normal volume over there. It's in the yellow. You're not going to be stopping, but you will be slowing down. You will have some friends out there on interstates with you. Meanwhile, on 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish, we look good. 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish, we look good. I-110 looks good as well. Before we get to the surface streets, let's head down I-12 just a little bit to west of I-55. It looks like 12 eastbound is at a crawl. Now, I'm not seeing an accident as a result causing this. I'm just seeing the delays. One would have to assume it's an accident because of, time of day and whatnot and location. But like I said, I'm just seeing that if you have to head 12 westbound this morning, 12 eastbound this morning, like you're heading to St. Tammany Parish, heading to Hammond and Tangipahoa, like either way, you might want to budget yourself a little bit of extra time because there are some pretty stacked up delays that are going to be in your way before you get to I-55. Surface streets, we have an accident, Blue Bonnet at Picardy. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. .624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Before we dive in up on Capitol Hill, just a quick reminder, if you wanted to travel to the LSU Vanderbilt game, There is a direct flight available. In fact, it's almost sold out, but not completely sold out. FlyBTR.com. They set up a flight that leaves out on Friday, comes back on Sunday. It's set up just for the game, a direct flight into Nashville. So if your last minute procrastinated opportunity to go to the game just popped up out of nowhere, FlyBTR.com. And once you get past Vanderbilt, if you're looking ahead to Alabama or Oklahoma, there are direct flights for those games as well. Flight going into Birmingham for the Alabama game, flight going into Oklahoma City for the Oklahoma game. Traveling with the Tigers, Baton Rouge Metro Airport has got you covered at flybtr.com. All right. It is day 14 today of the government shutdown. And we get some audio here from House Speaker Mike Johnson. And I got to tell you, I was hesitant to play it because it's starting to sound repetitive. The speaker's staying on message. The speaker's staying on point because he's got a message that's pretty darn strong, and his point is heard pretty loud and clear. We'll break that down in just a minute, but let's start off with his message in a nutshell to Chuck Schumer on the Senate side is this.
Pass the clean, no strings attached bill and reopen the government. We're on duty here, and we can return quickly to legislative session as soon as you turn the lights back on, Chuck Schumer.
One of the unwritten rules of politics is if you're explaining, you're losing. And one of the hard parts for Democrats in the shutdown is you got a lot of explaining to do. Because it's the Democrats who voted no on the quote-unquote clean bill. If the bill's not clean, then that's a different story. You've got to explain that. If you feel there's something nefarious about the promise to negotiate on the back end of getting the government open again, you've got to explain that. Only problem is you're the ones explaining. And if you're explaining, you're losing. You're basically trying to dig yourself out of a hole. One of the questions that I have, and I'm going to have for Congressman Troy Carter coming up at 8:30 this morning, 8:35 this morning, is if Republicans are saying the bill's clean and the bill's not clean, point out where it's not clean. If Republicans are saying get the government opened up again and then we'll start negotiating all the different things you want to do, put them on the clock. Shift the balance of power. Open the government back up again and force their hand. Force their hand and say, okay, you said you would negotiate. Now let's get down to negotiating. Now, one of the things that we've heard on a number of occasions is that on the House side, a number of Republicans have gone home. Congressman Carter said it on day one of the shutdown. He said, I'm right here. I'm ready to vote again if needed. Well, there's no vote to be called for on the House side because this got jammed up on the Senate side for one thing. And for another, just like FlyBTR.com has a direct flight to D.C. every day out of Baton Rouge. Yeah. Everyone can get there in short order. So while the government's not open, that doesn't mean that Republicans in the House have just completely clocked out and gone to Tahiti.
Our members are doing very productive work. We're in constant communication with them, and we are ready to come back and continue the work in our committees and everything on the House floor. We will return to legislative session as soon as the Democrats come to their senses and open the government.
See, that's twice now. As soon as the Democrats come to their senses and open the government. So then it turns to Democrats. They say, what say you? And that's where we keep getting jammed up. Sticking with Speaker Johnson. Got a couple more here. One of the sticking points once they get the government back open is Obamacare and how far that's going to get along the way. And I think this is one of the reasons that Democrats are really holding out is they know that Obamacare as a monolith is not very well received with Republicans on the congressional side.
It was really sinister the way, in my view, the way it was created. I believe Obamacare was created to implode upon itself, to collapse upon itself.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think it was created to collapse upon itself that as a motive to create it. But, I mean, when you look at the size, scope, and numbers, there's something to be said for that. And, oh, by the way, when you take payment out of the payer's hand and put it in the government's hand, yeah, costs are going to go through the roof. Cost of health care is through the roof right now. And government run or government funded healthcare, I don't believe is the answer. Look at the cost of college tuition. The more, like, let's just say with TOPS, the more scholarships you have, the more colleges, quote unquote, free to the general public. Oddly enough, the more something is free, the more expensive it gets. So there's definitely a fix that needs to be had.
We have to fix healthcare in America, and we have ideas to do it. But we have to have government open and operating to do that. I cannot snap my fingers and go in a back room with Chuck Schumer and say, oh, here's the magic fix for it. It's not how it's going to work.
I want to push back on that one a little bit. And by the way, I've got calls into Mike Johnson's office. We're trying to get him on the show. I know even with the government shutdown, it's still a very busy time for him. But I would argue, yeah, you can. A small group of you go into a back room, hammer out a deal, come back out, sell it to your people. Once you've sold it to your people sell it to America. Like, it takes a small group of people to build a small consensus before you can get this out to everybody else. But here we are, day 14, and the shutdown's still in. Here comes ABC News. It's hot in here today. It's officially hot in here. It's all right. I've sifted through and thrown away a bunch. Now I get to staple things, as is my wont and custom. Oh, good morning, Christy. Welcome in, sweetheart. Hmm. All right. Now we're set. Oh. Oh, it's so good. I'm going to run up to 49. .636 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along, holding at 59 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Don't forget the Talk 107.3 app is now available on Apple CarPlay. Press play on exclusive podcasts and listen 24/7 anywhere you go. Download the app or update to the current version to get access. The Talk 107.3 app is presented by Lake Urgent Care. Urgent care and walk-in care for minor illnesses and injuries. So you know how a good roller coaster has twists and turns, it has ups and downs, it has loop-de-loops, it has things that are unexpected that keep you on the edge of your seat and screaming? The New Orleans mayor's race had none of that. Joining us now to talk about what was, about as anticlimactic as I've ever seen, we've got Jeff Crouere on with us. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Brian.
It was like, it started with Helena Moreno and a lot of money. It ended with Helena Moreno and a lot of money. And in between, it was Helena Moreno and a lot of money. We just kept waiting and waiting and waiting for, the twist, the plot twist, something to happen. Please.
Yeah, it was what was expected, sort of like the governor's race, where Jeff Landry won without a runoff.
Yeah. Yeah,
and this was the same sort of thing. Just like Jeff Landry had the money and was able to really keep the competitors, away from him poll-wise. Moreno did the same thing. And, the last few days, any TV station you turned on just filled with her ads. She just overwhelmed these other candidates. It was just crushing. She just had so much support as far as the business community, as far as, political support. Everybody from, Troy Carter to Mary Landrieu to Mitch Landrieu. It was just overwhelming. And, kudos to her, for putting together the coalition. Business leaders that were Republican were behind her. The poor Republican nominee got like 2% of the vote. He didn't get any real support from Republicans. If he would have gotten 7, 8, 9%, the Republican electorate in the city is 15%. If he would have gotten more of that support, she would have been forced into a runoff because, the Republicans overwhelmingly went with Helena Moreno, which is interesting because she's the former chair of the state for Kamala Harris, but that's what happened. They wanted to go with the winner, and she was certainly the perceived front runner from the very beginning and ran a good race. She was focused on the issues. She didn't get into a lot of name calling with the opponents. She stayed sort of above the fray, and the classic front runner strategy. She didn't go to every event. She didn't have to because she
Right.
was so far ahead.
Okay.
And now she has the mandate Moreno.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, and we're going to get into where it goes from here in a little bit, but there's some more of Saturday that I want to break down. Roughly 40% turnout in Orleans Parish, if I'm not mistaken. Was that about right?
Right, which was significantly higher than the last time, which is good. I mean, 28% in the last election, so shows that people were more interested. Still, I mean, it's a shame we don't have 70% turnout, but 40% is a step in the right direction, and it shows that there was at least some interest in the race.
We're talking with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. You got 40% turnout. You've got two black men on the ticket. I mean, two big name black men on the ticket, and could not force a runoff. Are we looking at this? Are you looking at this race as possibly a change in the way candidates are being perceived, or was this a one-off because of the bankroll that Helena Moreno had?
Yeah, I think that was part of it, and it shows you with the right white candidate that can put a coalition together, like Mitch Landrieu. He was able to really, have success because he won overwhelmingly the white community, and then was able to really hold his own in the black community, and that's what she did. I mean, she was the overwhelming choice of the white community, and then, was divided the black community equally, pretty much, with the other two candidates. So, yeah, that was her coalition. You look at her acceptance speech on Saturday night. I mean, she had lots of prominent African Americans on the stage.
Yeah.
Desiree Charbonnet was right up there with her. Desiree was the one who ran in 2017 and lost to LaToya Cantrell, and people had wanted her to run again, but she got behind Helena Moreno and helped her win, and so she was prominently featured up there. And on the other hand, you had Duplessis and Oliver Thomas. Oliver was angry. The media never really gave him a chance, and it was sort of a foregone conclusion. He felt that the media sort of shaped the result they wanted.
We're talking with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. Okay, you brought up the comparison to Mitch Landrieu. I would point out a glaring difference in those two, in that Landrieu is a longtime New Orleans name. I mean, he was lieutenant governor. His sister was a senator. Their dad was mayor, a full generation ago. Landrieu had name cred built into it. So Helena Moreno is the second mayor of New Orleans in a row who's not originally from New Orleans. Look, Jeff, you and I both know, man, if you're in New Orleans, New Orleans being about New Orleans is a thing. And to see a second mayor in a row actually come from somewhere else originally, if you ask Helen Moreno where she went to school, she's not telling you Cabrini or Ursuline or Dominic. She's not from here. So, how is that carrying the day twice in a row?
It just that's a good point. I mean, we have another female, another woman who has been able to really generate support with local organizations through hard work. I mean, she's been working it hard. I mean, she was in everyone's home as a broadcaster.
Yeah.
So back when she was on, you had many more people watch local TV than you do now. So she was a well-known broadcaster. She was an anchor, so everybody saw her every night. Then she moved to the state legislature. Then she graduated to the city council and has sort of moved up the ladder. And, she's just had high profile positions. She's worked it and been able to, secure the support. And you're right. I mean, it's amazing because normally that doesn't happen in New Orleans, but the difference is that she is a skilled communicator, unlike Cantrell. There's never been a hint of scandal with her, unlike Cantrell. She will not embarrass the city, unlike Cantrell. So, there's some significant differences between her and Cantrell. She's been here longer. I think she's worked harder, and I think she'll be a much better representative for the city.
We got just a couple minutes left with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. His show is on in New Orleans from 7 to 9 a.m. All right, Jeff, let's pivot over to that Moreno mandate. What does it look like? What are her they probably sound obvious, but what are her priorities?
Well, I mean, I think she wants a city that works again. She talks about how she wants people to have, faith in the city again. She's promising competence, that she's going to tackle some of these longstanding problems. For me, the number one issue is to try to rebuild the economy and bring people back to New Orleans. We've had the highest outmigration rate in the country over the first half of the decade per capita. And, people ask why. And I think, there's a multitude of issues, everything from education to crime to incompetence to corruption to, it's just so hard to get things done there. I mean, it's so hard for things to happen efficiently. And, if she can restore some competence to city services, I mean, that would certainly help. And, she's asking for resumes. She's asking for people to join. I mean, I think there's some hope that she's going to be able to get it done. And there's sort of a feeling that, this is a new chapter for New Orleans. So she's got a few months. She doesn't take office until January. A lot of people are hoping that LaToya will just resign now and let her take the office early.
Oh, best
of
luck.
Not gonna happen.
No, best of luck. I'm looking for her to have to be evicted out of the Pontalba. Like she's gonna act as a squatter at this point. She's changed the locks, I'm sure. I mean, no. She will not, as the Dylan Thomas poem says, she will not go gentle into that good night.
And then, of course, there'll be the specter of the trial of her that'll be sort of hanging over, and that's just more bad publicity.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole chapter hasn't finished yet because she's still going to be around in the consciousness in a very negative way because that's going to be going on for a while. The other big news, of course, Brian, was the fact that a new sheriff was elected.
That was next on my list.
The incumbent who was not from New Orleans and utterly incompetent, utterly embarrassing, utterly failed. She didn't even come in second, and she had the humiliation of coming in third place. And the new sheriff does have longstanding cred and roots in New Orleans, and she's going to be again winning in the first primary, no runoff. So that was expected too. So
give us the quick and dirty on the new sheriff.
She's competent. She had a good tenure as chief. She was forced out by LaToya Cantrell. So there was no love lost there between Cantrell and Woodfork. A lot of that had to do with how Woodfork handled the bodyguard boyfriend, and Cantrell lashed back at her and got rid of her. A lot of people thought she should have been the chief because of the job she did on the interim basis, which was strong, which was good. So now she gets to run the sheriff and pick up the pieces there. I mean, as we talked about, they just got the final escapee arrested, and
right.
And that whole institution needs to be examined top to bottom, financially. I mean, security-wise, everything. So there's also good feeling about her, and there's some excitement about her coming in there, and people are thinking that she's going to be a good sheriff for the city.
And she only got like 3,000 fewer votes than the mayor did, and I thought those two numbers were they kind of stood out to where she has a mandate as well.
She does.
Yeah.
And she had a number of candidates running against her. She had a little tougher race because she had some people against her that were also well-known, and the guy who came in second, Edwin Shorty, was, ran a competitive race, but she was prevailed without a runoff, and then Susan Hudson had no money and no record and no reason for people to go down that road again. So I'm proud of the citizens of New Orleans, at least not reelecting her.
That is a good note to end on. He's Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. He's coming up. He's on the air in 10 minutes. Always appreciate the time, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks.
Take care.
649 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Before we hit up your money now, let me remind you about the folks over at NeuroJust. If you or someone you know is suffering from anxiety or depression, and you've been or they've been to this point treatment resistant, and I'm air quoting that, treatment resistant, the traditional forms of therapy or prescription drugs aren't really taking or have side effects, check out neurojust.com, Neurojust. Neurojust.com. They specialize in transcranial magnetic stimulation. This is FDA approved. It's non-invasive. There are no side effects, and it gets results up to 70% showing full remission rates. Learn more at neurojust.com, Neurojust, neurojust.com. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-ah. I need to change up the lineup real quick. It's not going to be Morgan Almeida at 7:15. It's going to be Lori Melancon, Lori. Lori Melancon. Same topic, same group. Keith says you're going to talk about the safety issues on the LSU campus this weekend. Yes, I absolutely am. Chief Morse is coming up at 7:35. That is topic number one. Because if you're on campus, it's LSU PD. Once you cross those gates, once you cross is that State Street? What's the first street there? State Street's the second street there. Either way, once you cross those gates and get outside of campus, it's a BRPD thing. John says, I worked with Michelle Woodfork at NOPD back in the late 90s. She was good police, and she's going to be a top-notch sheriff. Excellent to hear, John. That's awesome, dude. Appreciate that feedback. I think anything positive coming after an election, especially an election that just an election like this where the person who has the most money is the front runner at the beginning and they go wire to wire and they don't need a runoff and they don't have to show up. They don't have to answer to the people. They don't have to be held accountable for any of their issue. Like whatever the topic is that they want to talk about is what they're going to talk about. And they're not going to talk about what you want to talk about. But at the same time, you are the electorate. Like, I hate when that happens. You know what happens when stuff like that happens? Just a perfect example. Jeff Landry was not in favor of tort reform as a candidate, and he showed it in his first regular legislative session as a governor. And a whole lot of conservatives were caught by surprise with that. And they shouldn't have been. But he was the front runner the whole way through, so he never had to go to those panels. The traveling cavalcade of also-rans who had rubber chicken lunches every single day at every town hall meeting. Like, if you don't have to answer to that, you're never going to know what your candidate actually is. So it's good to hear things like about Michelle Woodfork's resume. By the way, question number one for Congressman Carter is going to be, is it true that the government will stay shut down until November 1st because the Spirit Halloween store opened in the Senate chambers? Well, they're not using it. The hell is this?
This, believe it or not, is Iggy Pop.
Okay.
This was in the latest Superman movie. This was like one of the main. I'm like,
That would explain why I haven't heard it.
yeah.
All right.
Look at him still out there.
Well, you know, I celebrate a pretty wide variety and collection of music there.
Yeah.
That one caught me by surprise for sure. It's 6:55 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got Lori Melancon from the Baton Rouge area chat. Nope. Sorry. It's going to take some getting used to, y'all. We got Lori Melancon from the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership joining us at 7:15 this morning. Yeah, they got a full-on rebrand. Let's talk about it. And it's not just a fresh coat of paint on the walls. There is a new mission involved here as well. Cannot wait for this conversation coming up at 7:15. Also next hour, Baton Rouge Police Chief TJ Morse slated to join us at 7:35. Really looking to dig in on this topic. Saturday night, we all know what happened on LSU's campus or just off LSU's campus. Legitimately, what can be done? And one of my takeaways from seeing a lot of the video footage reminded me a lot of College Drive being taken over after the Garth Brooks concert. Only difference being two people got shot. So you take a bad situation and make it worse. What's the up security going to look like? Is this the door being opened for the National Guard? Is an event like that the last straw, as it were? We'll talk with TJ Morse at 7:35. Before we dive back into talk a little upcoming politics, do want to remind you about the folks over at BREC. BREC.org is their website, BREC, Baton Rouge's recreational department. BREC.org, great partners of the show. The things that they're getting done at BREC right now, and it's a lot. They're working on a lot of projects right now. But one of them that they've already implemented, and we have Janet Simmons in regularly for updates, one of the things that they've already implemented is the rapid response ticketing system. You and I, we get to be eyes and ears, which is awesome because if you utilize BREC Parks, you know, like if you see something wrong, it's like, well, how do you let them know about it? Well, go to BREC.org and you'll see the rapid response ticket system. They've set up a phone number. They set up a way to do it online. It could not be easier, and this helps them help you. This helps them serve you and I. Rapid response ticketing system, a way to get things fixed quicker with BREC. You heard the story in our news at the bottom of the hour. John Bel Edwards is out. He is not going to be a candidate in next year's U.S. Senate race. Now, Edwards had the resume to do it for sure. 8 years as a governor. Before that, he was in the state Senate. He says this is not the time to re-enter public office. Bernie Pensenat, political analyst, says the announcement's not surprising since it's difficult for a Democrat to win a statewide race.
Louisianians at this point in time vote party strictly, not so much the person. They're not going to send a Democrat to vote against Donald Trump.
I understand that. But at the same time, though, when was the last time a Democrat outside of gerrymandered districts was elected to a statewide position? It was John Bel Edwards, and he did it twice. Now, granted, there were extenuating circumstances surrounding that. You had, if you rewind the clock all the way back, it was David Vitter he was going up against. And what was the pornographer's name? Larry Flint, uncovering everything about Vitter possible. And then the Republicans didn't run hard against Edwards for re-election. That's not to say that those who ran weren't formidable, great men, but as far as political candidates were concerned, not really the smoothest out there. One other thing about this race is who is in, and it's all on the right. And this is something we're going to be breaking down regularly as we move forward. Right now, though, we have to meet up with news. Renee says, I'm from a town that had some serious riots during the civil rights era. When the National Guard walks onto your school campus in full gear, some things got real. I understand. All right, I'll be right back. Hey, were you in here when they cleaned up for that video? Yeah. What happened to my mouthwash? 7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, JP producing. We got a busy second hour coming your way. BRAC, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, has rebranded. They're the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. Lauren Melancon heads up that outfit. Will join us in our next segment. Also this hour, Baton Rouge Police Chief TJ Morse at 7:35. Yes, we are talking about what went down at LSU. We got a stack of things to cover with the chief, but that is definitely what's going to lead that conversation, to be sure. Before we get to any of that, though, let's do a little top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central Time, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments in Louisiana versus Calais. This is the redistricting case that gave us Cleo Fields' current district and could just as easily take it away. What will happen after that is, we're going to have to unpack that kind of in real time as to whether or not this will be a special session and what that special session is going to do.
Number 4.
Loved ones and law enforcement agencies from across the nation honored Iberville Parish Sheriff's Deputy Charles Riley at his funeral yesterday in Gonzales. Riley's funeral at the Pace Center on St. Anthony Avenue started with a public viewing from noon to 2:45 p.m. Then the public service began immediately after that.
Number 3.
As we talked about in our last segment, John Bell's out. The former two-term governor of Louisiana says he's not running for the U.S. Senate seat currently held by Bill Cassidy. Now, while the guessing is over for Edwards, this still leaves Democrats without a candidate in the race. The other candidates right now are Eric Scrametta, Kathy Seiden, Blake Miguez, and John Fleming.
Number 2.
State Senator Rick Edmonds, who authored Senate Bill 190 of the 2025 regular legislative session, unveils a sign designating a portion of Airline Highway in Baton Rouge as the Jackson Gerald Garofalo Toulier Memorial Highway. That official unveiling is going to be, I believe, tomorrow. The designation of this portion of Airline is meant to honor the lives of the 4 fallen East Baton Rouge Parish police officers who were killed back in July of 2016 in that horrible Sunday morning ambush attack.
Number 1.
LSU and state officials said Monday that extra security would be in place for the next home football game. That is October 25th against Texas A&M. This, of course, after gunfire was reported on and near campus for the second time this season. Of course, you had the guy who near Tiger Stadium shot himself in the leg trying to retrieve his gun. And then you had over there closer to Highland at Dalrymple or Highland at State. A mob took over the street, shut the street down. 2 people were shot. That investigation continues.
Well, is the war in Gaza over? That's what President Trump declared yesterday.
I mean, he says it's over.
Yeah.
Benjamin Netanyahu said it's not. I tend to lean towards it's not yet. I mean, we've seen time and again. I mean, it's this 3,000 years worth of a war.
Yes.
That they stop shooting for one day does not mean it's over with. Right?
We can only hope.
It's the best scenario for today.
That's right.
You know how an alcoholic looks at day to day. I'm just not going to drink that next day. Yeah, this is I would put similar parameters around this. It's like every day of peace is one day more of peace. Now, the more this gets to become routine, the more parts of Donald Trump's 20-point plan are going to be implemented, the more sustainable it will be. But as of right now, bullets aren't flying, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely. And keeping it with presidents here, apparently former President Joe Biden is receiving radiation treatment for an aggressive form of prostate cancer.
Yeah, man. Awful.
Yeah.
Look, I know political disagreements and political discourse are nowhere near as humane as they should be, but, it's cancer. I mean, goodness gracious. Put down your weapons. He can't hurt you anymore.
That's right.
Put down your rhetorical internet weapons. He can't hurt you anymore. That's just, you wouldn't wish it on anybody.
No, indeed. Apparently he's going to be turning 83 next month.
Really?
Yeah.
So that sounds, yeah, that's right.
Oh, it's 183.
183.
Oh, no, but yeah, you hate to see it really for anybody.
Yeah, the war between the war in Gaza it's a 3,000-year-old war. Joe Biden's been there for every day of it.
Hey, Stephen Colbert has announced his post-talk show plans. We previously learned he would star in an episode of Elsbeth. Now we learn he's joining the cast of Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
Does this catch you by surprise? I'm kind of caught by surprise with this.
Really?
I didn't see acting as being I thought there would be another talk show in a different format, some kind of streaming only platform. Yeah. Like I didn't see this coming to be like Star Trek.
Maybe launch a podcast or something.
Yeah.
Kind of go the Conan route. The Conan show ended. He started the podcast. Did a bunch of other things like that.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
Star Trek?
Yeah, exactly.
Huh? This one caught me by surprise. I wasn't ready for it.
Somehow I feel like he'll fit right into whatever.
Sure.
Hey, time will tell, right?
He used to be funny.
We'll see the reels.
He was funny till he got important, and but does he need to be funny on Star Trek?
It'd be funny if it's just full makeup. You don't even know who he is,
right?
He just kind of cover everything,
right? If he comes out looking like a Klingon or whatever,
yeah,
looking like, and I know it's Star Wars, but like in a costume like Admiral Akbar or something,
right? Yeah,
right. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Colbert.
That's it.
712 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We got Lori Melancon coming up next. Before we break, though, I want to remind you about the folks over at 180 Pros. Great new partnership over here with 180 Pros. Look, if you want to talk about the last IT company you're ever going to have to call, certified professionals bringing deep industry knowledge and hands-on expertise to solve complex IT challenges with confidence and precision. They do it a little different at IT Pros. They are not your IT provider. They are your partner. It's a completely different scenario when you set things up that way. They base their success off of your success, backed by years of experience in client success. Their team delivers reliable, results-driven IT solutions that keep your business running smoothly. Want to learn more? 180pros.com. That's 180pros.com, 180pros.com. Quick break. Coming back. Lauren Melancon next. That's her. Troy says, "Gabrep it and rip it." Close. Are we changing? Okay. Are we changing? Bring it to get a Gabrep. Man, it's just hard. I'm an acronyms guy. Oh, yeah. Oh, water. Gotta feed. I got a joke to feed to this advocate. I need a picture. I was getting off the interstate the other night. I-12. I was getting off I-12 eastbound at Sherwood, and they installed those new lights, the new LED lights. Yeah. And I didn't think of it till I pulled out and was on Sherwood heading back home. But the headline for this advocate needs to read, City Parish installs new LED lights. Panhandlers offer extended hours. Right? That's perfect for this advocate. Are we on? There I am. 714 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Last Thursday night, big event as the Baton Rouge Area Chamber announced a pretty huge rebrand. Joining us now to talk about this is Lori Melancon, who heads up let me make sure I've got it right, Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. Lori, welcome back. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing very well as well. First of all, kudos on the event Thursday night. Could not have been better. That was fantastic.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Secondly, and I know I don't like telling inside jokes on the air. You had to be in the room to get it. Neil Patel killed it. I mean, he crushed it in that video.
I know. I was so proud of him. He did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, walk us through, first of all, what GreaterBatonRouge.org is all about.
Look, for 20 years, we've been the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, and for 80 years before that, we were the Chamber of Greater Baton Rouge, and not a whole lot has changed about our organization today versus what we were a week ago. 20 years ago, we came together as a group of business leaders and community leaders and said, we really needed to focus on regional economic development, bring the 9 parishes together. That is really how business operates. It doesn't stop at parish lines. So we created the Baton Rouge Area Chamber 20 years ago. As we've done our work, as we talk to companies around the world about the advantages of Greater Baton Rouge, the name chamber doesn't always resonate. A chamber of commerce does a little bit of something different in the traditional sense. So this new rebrand is not a change of our organization. It's just a realignment of our name with our mission. And we continue to do strong economic development work for the entire 9-parish capital region.
All right, so let's start there. Let's start with the existing business who rely upon a Chamber of Commerce for all the services that y'all have provided over the last 20 years. The reassurance there is that's not going away.
That's exactly right. We are going to continue to advance business interests both locally and at the state level and nationally as needed. We're going to continue to push forward the quality of life amenities that we think that we need to make our place an attractive location for business. All of that remains the same. It's simply a new name to better align when we're talking to new prospects in the region.
Okay, how does that alignment work out? Walk me through a few of the logistics of working with the partners from the 9-parish area.
Look, we do this all the time, and we've been doing it for 20 years. The way economic development works, we joke around that it's a team sport, but it really is. We have Louisiana Economic Development at the state level. They do a lot of really great work bringing prospects to us locally, and as we do the same for them. We partner with them on state incentives, on state policy. Regionally, we're really focused on marketing the region and bolstering that economic development support, but we have lots of really great local partners in many of our 9 parishes who are doing the work on the ground to make sure that the businesses located in their parishes experience the success that we all think is possible here in Baton Rouge.
We're talking with Lori Melancon, who heads up the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. GreaterBatonRouge.org is the website if you wanted to learn more. Lori, one of the conversations that was being had around the Elite facility the other night was that you're going to get more buy-in from existing businesses to create more jobs around because, look, success begets success. So is that part of the goal here is buy-in from business, that this is kind of economic development is everyone's job?
Well, I mean, maybe so, but I don't necessarily think that any of that is new, right? Mm-hmm. What we really need more of the buy-in is the belief that it's possible. Brian, one of the things that we didn't talk about before we got on the air today, but something that I really want to make the point, and I hope that everyone listening can really take this in. We have a bold opportunity at our fingertips. The Baton Rouge area is at this really interesting inflection point, and if we can harness the opportunities that are right ahead of us, and we can really lean into what's possible for Baton Rouge, this place won't be recognizable in 5 to 10 years. Mm-hmm. Communities transform over a multi-decade trajectory. It takes 20, 30, 40 years for Greenville to become Greenville, Austin to become Austin, Nashville to become the Nashville that we go and visit today. We are in the middle and the beginning, I would say more of the beginning middle of this push in Baton Rouge. We're certainly not at the beginning. We've been doing great work here in the Baton Rouge area for a very long time, but the economic opportunities that are right before us with the prospect of carbon capture and what that is going to mean for technology and for the companies not only currently in our ecosystem that want to be part of our ecosystem, this is a multi-generational opportunity of growth for the Baton Rouge area. We just have to lean in and make it happen.
Let's talk about that carbon capture in for just a minute, if we could. We're talking with Lori Melancon, heads up the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. Lori, let's talk about that carbon capture in just a little bit, because from an outsider's perspective, it looks like there's a whole lot of momentum towards making this, not a key of our economy, but a sales pitch to grow other parts of the economy. And then there's just a few detractors out there who are getting louder and louder by the minute. How do we make the scientific message rule the day when it comes to safety, and the economic message rule the day when it comes to, if you want all the other business, it's got to start with this?
Look, I really want people to do their research on this. Carbon capture technology is not new. It's been happening in the United States for a long time. We are at a pivotal opportunity where we can implement this technology in Louisiana because of our geology and because of the complex infrastructure that we already have here. It will not only make our environment safer, but it's also going to make our facilities and our infrastructure more technologically advanced. Beyond that, it creates a commodity. It creates carbon in our ground that will become a commodity for us in years to come. So what I want people to do is to not take the clickbait. I want you not to pay attention to outside influences coming in and trying to raise people's concerns about something that is not actually factually accurate. Mm-hmm. Do your research to understand what this means, what this enables, and start to learn about what is going to be possible if we implement this environmentally friendly technology for our community.
We got Lori Melancon on with us for a couple more minutes, talking about the rebrand of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber and the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. Let's talk about mission just a little bit. And I know over the past 20 years, BRAC has gone to great lengths to visit every other city out there. You mentioned Greenville a little while ago. Every other city that would be a quote unquote competitor. With the new rebrand, does the mission remain the same in that we want to, tap into not just what we're capable of, but what our neighbors are already attacking?
Look, yes, absolutely. That mission remains the same. The mission of the organization has not changed. And what we're going to be doing over the next year or two is to really partner with the other organizations that operate regionally in the community to start to outline a bolder, bigger, broader vision for the entire capital region. One of the things that we do very best of anywhere in the country, I believe, in Baton Rouge, is work in silos. We love to work in a silo and take our toys and put our arms around them and say, this is my area and not yours. What we're intending to do is to start to break down those silos in the greater Baton Rouge area to make sure that our parishes, our communities, our organizations are working together to be able to build those bridges that are going to enable us to build the community that we really want to have for decades to come. So you'll see us, the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, Visit Baton Rouge, the United Way, the Greater Baton Rouge Arts Council, our parish partners across the region, working together to start a region-wide dialogue about what's possible for the 9-parish capital region for decades to come.
Is there any peeling back of the curtain, or do we not know what's behind the curtain on that conversation yet?
We're working on it.
Okay. But there's so much potential there.
There's so much potential there. And look, and we're not alone, right? This is hard. This is really hard work to do. But there are communities that have done it. We have studied them around the country. We're looking at the best models out there. And what we think is possible is for all of us to come together. Look, one of the things that happened for me at Washington Mardi Gras this year was one of our elected officials came to me and said, Lori, you guys are leaving so much federal money on the table. Look around the country at Monroe, Louisiana. Monroe and the communities around it are building multi-jurisdictional pitches to bring down federal dollars, to bring down philanthropic dollars, to make really exciting changes for that community. We are doing that here in Baton Rouge. We barely talk to one another across parish lines. So what we believe is possible is for us to break down those jurisdictions, for us to talk across parish lines, across organizational almost made up silos, right, in order to be able to advance the agenda of the 9 parishes together.
A couple more minutes here with Lori Melancon, and I love where the conversation's going because, there is room for all 9 parishes to get rowing in the same direction. But at the same time, though, all 9 parishes do have different needs as well. How do you walk those two conversations hand in hand?
That's right. And online parishes might not be on the same page for every single concept or strategy.
Right.
But if we can get 3 or 4 together where it really makes sense, there might make sense for 5 or 6 parishes to come together on a regional destination sports complex to be able to make Baton Rouge the capital of the Gulf South for destination and competitive sports. It could be that we work together across 6 or 7 parishes around a safety initiative or something around specific around economic development or site development. We're going to look at multiple different categories that make a metro area successful and look to build bridges versus trying to delineate lines.
Speaking of building bridges.
Yeah, wouldn't we all love to build a bridge? Amen.
And that would involve Iberville Parish, and that would involve, exactly the kind of partnership that we're talking about, because you would cross over between Iberville and Ascension. You would cross over between Iberville and East Baton Rouge, and West Baton Rouge for that matter. That's the kind of thing that you're talking about here is when you've got your silos, and all 3 of the final locations for the new Mississippi River Bridge are in Iberville. When you got your silos, it shuts down those conversations.
That's right. And us being able to all be on the same page about what are the key priorities. So, for example, in transportation, right? Everybody talks about traffic in the Baton Rouge area. That's absolutely a consideration. And our traffic times are a few minutes longer than other of our peer communities that are like us with a major interstate moving through our region. However, what is most exciting to me about a new bridge is that what it unlocks and makes available for our workforce in the region. Not only would your commute times be shorter, but you would have access, those companies in our industrial corridor would have access to more workforce and more talent because that bridge would enable people to get to those facilities quicker and from further away within a reasonable drive time. So this is not just a transportation solution. This is an economic development and workforce solution that is very important to the future of Greater Baton Rouge.
Pie in the sky, dreaming upon all dreams. What are we looking for here? Who are we looking to attract to Baton Rouge? We know Southwest Louisiana is kind of the LNG capital of the world, quote unquote LNG capital of the world. What would be our niche? What would be our bread and butter?
Look, we already have a bread and butter, and if anybody wants to, you really should not overlook the incredible good fortune we have in Greater Baton Rouge with the resources that we have here in our 9 parishes, right? People around the country are jealous of our Mississippi River, of our industrial corridor, or of our incredible complex infrastructure. We have built something second to none in the world right here in Baton Rouge. One of the things that we want to do is to advance that infrastructure and advance that industrial complex into the next generation of technology. That's what carbon capture will enable. But it will also enable us to attract new kinds of manufacturing to the region. We also believe that just like those facilities will continue to remain really, really strong, there's a significant opportunity for us with technology and computer science, cybersecurity, digital twins. You are going to see the emergence of a really exciting, interesting technology related to our existing industrial infrastructure. We have the right to win that kind of industry here in Louisiana based on the work being done at LSU, the investments we've been making in computer science since we attracted the IBM deal more than a decade ago. You're going to see that industry cluster begin to grow and to bear new fruit here in Baton Rouge.
And that's the wave of tomorrow. That's the information is tomorrow.
We have built the most complex infrastructure in the world right here. We did that. The people here in South Louisiana did that. We are now going to be able to build it in the digital universe as well.
Last one before we get you out of here, and thank you so much for your time this morning. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Your predecessor over in that role, Adam, used to talk about a super region between us and New Orleans. Does the current pivot put us better positioned to just naturally move towards that?
In economic development, it's funny. The regional economic developers, we kind of joke that we're a little bit like frenemies, right? We all work together.
Yeah.
We cheer each other on. We celebrate one another's wins. Mm-hmm. The Meta win in North Louisiana we're probably not just as excited about it, but we're super excited about it here in South Louisiana. But we believe that continuing to build those relationships, not only along the I-10 corridor, but along the I-12 corridor, will only benefit our region as well. So Louisiana really will benefit from the strength of multiple strong nodes throughout the state. Just like Texas, for a long time it was Houston and Dallas, right? Houston and Dallas, Houston and Dallas. And then all of a sudden Austin really emerged in the late part of last century. And then San Antonio, behemoth now, right? That you really can't even compete with. So it's all of those metros working together that really make Texas what it is today. Louisiana has the ability to do that as well. And it's all of us working together to get there.
Okay. When the Los Angeles Raiders move to Las Vegas, it takes a little while to get used to the new location. How long do we all have before we have to be used to the new name?
You got time.
Okay.
I know people love a brack and a braff, and people like to confuse us all. I'm saying pivot to the partnership and the foundation. That might be a nice way to remember it. We're going by the partnership. You can call us the ship for short. But yeah, we're all going to give ourselves a little bit of time. I started my economic development career at the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, so it's a special time for me to be able to be at the helm of the organization as we make this shift. And I'm sure I'm going to fall into it as well. But from the Baton Rouge Area Chamber to the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership, it really is an exciting time to live in Baton Rouge, and I want to thank you for all you're doing to make it a better place.
Look, I'm on board. Bright things are heading our way. She is Lori Melancon. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Yep, we'll talk soon. Here's news. ABC. Yeah, that's on me.
All right.
Oh my God. The ship. That means championship.
La niña.
Oh, I'm doing well. JP. 736, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Baton Rouge Police Chief TJ Morse can be in with us. 60 seconds from right now, I do need to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's, downtown on 3rd Street, Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center that's directly across the street from Tiger Stadium, or they're back in the old school location. Remember Kenilworth Supermarket back in the day? Well, it's now Mathern's Market at Kenilworth. It's on Highland Road, just west of Kenilworth Parkway. The family that you love and miss is now back home in their original location. And what they've brought with them is all the conveniences of Mathern's. Download the Mathern's Rewards app today. Start earning cash towards more groceries every time you shop. And at the LSU location and the Kenilworth location, you could be earning cash towards more groceries while shopping via the app. You open up the app, hit that little purple tab that says Shop Online, knock out your grocery list, pull in the parking lot. They bring it out to you. All the deals, all the coupons automatically incorporated in. Let the technology handle this thing. The Mathern's app is available today. All right. Baton Rouge Police Chief TJ Morrison with, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Brian. Always good to see you.
Likewise. There's no way we can't start anywhere but LSU, right? I mean, it just kind of feels like this is the headline that's been ruling the day. I want to talk a little bit about logistics and partnerships and how much of this is LSU PD, how much of this is BRPD. Like, how does it work on a game day?
So, of course, LSU PD is the lead agency. They kind of do all the coordinating. They're having all the meetings, leading all the meetings throughout the week for this big thing that draws 200,000 people, and makes its own little city every Saturday. And so you have what you wind up having is over 500 officers from, 6, 7, 8 different jurisdictions and organizations, departments. Everything from sheriff's offices coming in from other parishes to help out with Inside Security Stadium, to us having 200 to 300 officers doing security, plus our other support elements with SRT SWAT and EOD and drones and command posts and dispatchers. Our own East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office, LSUP, State Police, all these people coming together to put on the security for LSU.
It's a lot of people got to talk.
Yes.
So how does that work? Like, walk through what went down on Saturday, how the communication back and forth, how did that work?
Yeah, so I was actually at the game, go and just saying hi to the guys and hanging out. We actually have our own, we have a big command post, MAC, that we call it, that we have people from all these agencies that are there. And then Chief Walters and I have a very good relationship, have somebody from the Sheriff's Office, State Police, and somebody from BRPD, always together to see what's going on, monitoring cameras, both from the traffic side and just the security side. And so then when we heard about the shooting, we went out there. I went out to the scene, started looking at it. It happened on LSU campus, but because just of the how big it was, with a couple different suspects and a couple different victims, and we had some witnesses detained and things like that, they asked that we take over the investigation. Okay. So we did that to support them, and we're handling that incident.
So one of the things that it came up with, is one of the questions is, it happened it was on LSU's campus, but it's right there by the gates, and they took over this mob took over a street that runs all the way through Baton Rouge. So how do you determine what belongs to y'all and what belongs to LSU?
Yeah, so kind of where LSU campus stops and starts, right? And of course, we come on, and the whole campus is inside the city limits. Right. So we can come onto the campus and assist. That we have jurisdiction as well, and we can assist them as they would like us to. But yeah, originally started as something that was promoted as a big event, big party, that they set up a stage overnight that LSU made them take down because they didn't have permission to do that. 5,000 people in this new Unity Field. Things got out of hand there. LSU made the decision to shut that event down. And so they shut that event down, and all those people looking for some place to go, and kind of were pushed off campus over there in that area of Highland and Chimes. Right. And so then we brought in a bunch of resources to keep traffic moving and keep the people moving, so that there wouldn't be a big street takeover and property damage and things like that. Yeah. And then we had a bunch of officers on scene when this argument took place, in a fight between two different groups. In which you had as two different people pulled out guns to shoot at each other that were involved in this fight, and they exchanged gunfire right there on LSU campus. And we had officers in the area. We actually had 2 officers that saw it happen and put it out on the radio, and we have a bunch of video evidence, a lot of things we're coming through, and hopefully making an arrest soon.
I know better than to ask you about the inner workings of the investigation. I already, that's that will play itself out the way it will play itself out. But I do want to ask you about kind of the strategies moving forward. There's going to be increased security. Do we know what it's going to look like yet?
We're having a meeting tomorrow, actually, coming off the heel of the governor's, his support, it all comes down to manpower and money, right? If you want to increase security, you're going to have to do more money. You need more manpower, things like that. So we're going to have those conversations tomorrow on what that looks like. Where are we going to need to beef up security? What are we going to do about some of these? This is the first year that we've had some of these new problems pop up. And so what are we going to do to address those areas? Working with LSU, because obviously they're going to have to take lead. It's their property. It's their decision on what they would like to be done. And we're going to be there to support them in any way that they would like us to.
We've heard talk in the past, and you and I have had the conversation in the past about the potential of the National Guard coming to town.
Mm-hmm.
Does an event like what happened Saturday night escalate that potential?
It's still a conversation. I think we're a little ways from anything happening just because of, government is actually in a shutdown right now, right? So we have to have those conversations. Even yesterday we were at the funeral celebrating the life of Deputy Riley, Iberville deputy that was killed, and we're over there in Gonzales, and took the opportunity. I'm in the same room with the colonel and the sheriff and a bunch of people and the chief from LSU, and so we're actually having some of those conversations even there and setting up a meeting for later this week on what does all this look like.
Well, what goes into that is there is no department that's not shorthanded right now.
True.
So I mean, we're already asking as a populace, we're already asking for more from less from y'all, and now we're asking for even more.
Yeah, we're over 150 officers short right now as it is. And I keep saying every time I'm on here, the officers of the Baton Rouge Police Department have been stepping up and just been amazing, doing more with less, still doing their jobs and doing them superbly. But we're still going to be there. Whatever LSU needs, we're going to provide and help them out with.
So big meeting tomorrow. We should expect some information after that. We got Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morrison with us, talking about a couple of different things going on. Obviously, LSU was going to lead the day. I do want to pivot over because we're less than a month until we're back at the polls again. Thrive EBR will be on the ballot. From your department's perspective, I know this is kind of an all hands on deck sort of thing, but from your department's perspective, what does Thrive EBR mean to the BRPD?
Yeah, so this is a unique thing because as civil service employees of the Baton Rouge Police Department, we're usually not allowed to speak on election type matters.
Right.
We can't endorse a candidate or a political party, but this is neither of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So those rules don't apply to us. And so we're actually able to say, yeah, we support Thrive. I support Thrive personally. I think that the mayor has and his team have a great plan working together with the library and council on aging, mosquito abatement, all the council. It's been a long time since you've seen all 5 mayors in the parish all agree to do, and they all want this to happen. You have all these different agencies that want this to happen. It would do great things, give the mayor some freedom to move things around in the budget without putting extra burden on the taxpayers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the message that's been hard to get through. A lot of people are like, no, I'm not going to vote for it. You're not voting for more taxes. You're voting for give him some freedom to move some money around so we can put it to some more important things. And hopefully one of those things is going to be, better police budget.
Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morris with us. Okay, let's pivot over to got a couple of different things going on. You mentioned you were at Deputy Riley's funeral yesterday.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so unfortunately, tragic thing that happened a week ago. But, as I've said before, when we've experienced our own loss, going back to Caleb's, the silver lining is to see the community come out and all the support and all the different agencies. I mean, I saw agencies from NYPD, representatives there. Coming down. So you see the community, you see different law enforcement partners come together, everybody to say, hey, we're here, we got your back, we're going to keep it going from here. And it was a really good event, very touching, good tribute to that great deputy.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Was it Thursday or Friday of last week? It was Friday of last week when he was taken home.
Right.
To see the people lining the streets. So as you're coming up 10 eastbound under the Valley Park overpass, they had 2 Baton Rouge fire trucks out there with all the firemen just lined up along the overpass. And I'm like, what is going on? And then once I found out what was going on, it's like, oh, it was last Wednesday.
Yeah. Fire Chief Kimball and Baton Rouge Fire Department, they do, we have, of course, police and fire. We always have a friendly competition going back and forth. I have to mess with each other, but I have to give them their props. it is something when you see those fire trucks with the flag draped up high on those ladders. It really is breathtaking.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple minutes left with Baton Rouge Police Chief TJ Morse. We got the National Night Out Against Crime coming up.
Yeah, National Night Out Against Crime a week from today, next Tuesday night, 5:30. We're going to start paying attention. We're going to be sending out flyers to all the news organizations on our own social media. But it's going to be up at Howe Park on Wimburn, kind of in conjunction with anticipating the opening of the new Inspiration Center that's going to be open up there at the end of the year, first of the year. We're very excited about that project, working with Law Enforcement Criminal Justice Foundation. So we thought it very appropriate to host instead of just in our own. Last year we did it at LSU. Typically it's been on our own property, but we're going to do it up there this year, up on Wimburn at Howe Park. Love to have everybody out. It's going to be us, Sheriff's Office, State Police, bunch of other federal organizations. We're going to have, everything from kind of touch the truck, all of our specialty equipment out there, to food, to music, games. It's going to be a really good time. We want everybody to come out.
Very, very good stuff. We have 2 minutes left before we have to hit the break coming up for Your Money Now. Within the last 2 minutes, I do want to go back and revisit the top, the discussion about what went down at LSU. I couldn't help but make comparisons between what went down Saturday versus what went down on the night of the Garth Brooks concert. Have there been those comparisons made, or am I just seeing things because I'm seeing them on social?
Yeah, I guess it's the first time that I've heard that comparison made. I was there monitoring the cameras, and it was a large group of people kind of out there, and then kind of moving off to Highland, that we had to go out there and break up the kind of the party. You have 3,000 people all trying to leave at once on foot. Where are they going to go? And of course, they stop it in front of businesses that we don't want them. So we brought in a bunch of extra officers and kind of pushed them out.
Yeah, it's just the side by side. When you looked at, like, it's all the videos all over TikTok, right? And the number of people in the street that is just piling on top of cars, people piling on top of cars. I saw a lot of similarities there. And if I'm remembering right, that event with the burnouts and the street races and all that from the Garth Brooks things, that was really a tipping point towards a greater emphasis to put an end to that.
Yes, and of course, and we have a lot of good, working with the council with the new laws that we have about drag racing, which we've been enforcing. Last weekend we had some car meetups, and we towed 3 or 4 cars and impounded them for drag racing. So it's definitely some good tools out there that we're able to use now for events like this.
He is Baton Rouge Police Chief TJ Morse. We always appreciate the time, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Thank you. We got Your Money Now coming up about 20 seconds from right now. Enough time for me to remind you, Talk 107.3 is your new home for Ken Trahan's the original prep football report. Get live in-game updates, a full statewide scoreboard, and check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m. Yeah, 5 solid hours of Ken Trahan's original prep football report, presented locally by Dr. Pepper and the Harold Perkins Jr. Tuition Program right here on Talk 107.3 FM. All right, quick break for Your Money Now. We'll come back with This Day in History next.
Great job.
7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Whew. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along, and we're moving fast, y'all. Let's dive right in. This day in history. Let's go. All right, JP, what you?
I'm sorry.
Get it. He can wait till the top of the hour.
All right, starting
Keno
off.
Messing with you.
1892. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, a collection of 12 stories originally published seriously in the Stand magazine. This is day 1892.
Okay.
Sherlock Holmes been around for a while. Huh?
Yeah.
So has Winnie the Pooh, as it was released today in 1926.
Sure, why not?
You know what? 1953, U.S. President Dwight Eisenhower promises to fire any federal worker taking Fifth Amendment with regard to Communist Party affiliation.
Did that on his birthday. Teasing what's still to come.
Yep. 1959, Bobby Darin was at number 1 on the UK singles chart with Mac the Knife.
All right.
Martin Luther King Jr. announced as winner of the Nobel Peace Prize this day, 1964.
Okay.
The Jackson 5 make their national TV debut in 1968, this day as
All right.
well.
Yeah.
Anything else on this day?
So we had Sherlock Holmes.
Yep.
We had Winnie the Pooh. And in 2007, we added Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
There we go. Hey, you might like this one. 1969, police in New Jersey issued a warrant for the arrest of Frank Sinatra in relation to his connection with the mafia.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Moving on to birthdays here.
Sinatra was connected to the mafia? What?
What?
How did that happen in a world? Who saw that one coming?
Yeah. Man, did things his way. Dwight D. Eisenhower today, birthdays.
Yeah.
Usher.
Oh, really?
Usher today.
Love me some Usher. Man.
Roger Moore as well today. And Ralph Lauren.
Okay. All right. I'm looking real quick. I'm sorry. This show is like moving very, very fast, and I've double booked a million things.
Yeah.
So, add to that list. That's who I'm adding to the list. Stephen A. Smith.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Stephen A. Smith's birthday is today.
Bing Crosby on the deaths today.
Okay.
And Errol Flynn.
And Arlen Specter was one more. So.
All right. As far as national days, you know what? National Face Your Fears Day.
Sure.
We'll just go with that.
We can roll with that.
Sounds good.
All right, 7:59 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Before we hit news at the top of the hour, do need to remind you, Supply Chain BR coming up. Supply Chain Baton Rouge. This is the 5th annual Supply Chain Conference coming up October 28th at the Crown Plaza Executive Center over there off Constitution Avenue. This is the theme, one day to power your logistics strategy. If you work in logistics, if your office handles any logistics, you need this conference, okay? You can join local leaders and experts in supply chain management and logistics for the 5th annual Supply Chain Baton Rouge, a day of networking, insight, and education that keeps you ahead and accelerates your business potential. Where do you get tickets? They're at Supply Chain Baton Rouge. Search up Supply Chain Baton Rouge on Eventbrite. That's where you'll find your tickets. Breakfast is included. Lunch is included. There's an after party at T.O. Javi's. It runs from 8 till 3 on October 28th. Supply Chain Baton Rouge going to be going down at the Crown Plaza. Get your tickets on Eventbrite. Get them today. All right. We got news, traffic, weather. Mary Beth Hughes Derrickson from La B joins us next. Do I? Yeah. That's left over from Saturday night. Disconnect that.
Yeah, okay. That might be why we can't connect.
That's exactly why we can't connect. Hey, for once it was our fault.
Joe, you hold on. Hold on, he said they were connected to ESPN. It says it's requesting the call. Requesting the call. That's what mine said. Oh, it's resetting right now. Hold on. Let it reset first. John, let it reset.
We got Mary Beth on? Okay. I think so. I don't know. Yeah. 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 Yep. Yep. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right then. Okay.
All good.
See, I'm a little different with LSU. The only offensive team they play is for the crowd is Ole Miss, and they got 500 something yards. But the offense is on defense on the field.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest of the other teams are horrible offense, including South Carolina. They got a good quarterback, but they went average about 18. The next three tests, you got the teams that can score. Now I want to see elite defense.
Yeah.
For me, elite defense was
Brandon misses last night. Son of Brandon. Yeah. All of it, yeah. Oh wait. He gotta get back. LSU is an elite defense. They
They show it to me the next three games.
I
I'm gonna tell you,
you've got to have a balanced offense though. You've got to stay on the field for more than 3 plays. So, offense wise.
that's what I said.
That's
This game only ran 40 something plays.
right.
I'm giving you that, but I gotta wait and see. I'm not. Listen, they gotta be able to stop the run. They stopped the run of. That doesn't take them. I think they stopped their run game, hold them like 100, 125.
Against Pavia? Yeah.
This is a tough game. I told you. Win the 2 out the next 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think they go. The other hard game's gonna be Oklahoma. They're late. You hope that's a daytime game because if it's nighttime, you're talking about probably in the 40s. 30s or 40s. Actually, Alabama last year. They kicked Alabama. I hope you're right about the defense. I'm not convinced because Wisconsin played a lot of offensive teams. Give me an offensive team that can score. I'm hoping though they win this. They need to win this one. Either win.
Who was that out there in the hallway? That's Polly Glover. I knew who that is. Who's the guy? Okay. Apparently, I have like 18 different things booked. I had to cancel Congressman Carter already. Same.
My producer was falling out laughing. That's what it. He just said, "No, I just said it was for this one. I got another one." He said, "Why didn't you got another one?" I said, "You know, but see, here's the thing. Email me.
Yeah.
They call me and text me.
Everything I do is via text. It sucks. So, what? I have a feeling it's triple booked. I know. Oh, okay. Parish president. He's 8:15. He's good to go. No, 8:15. He's good to go. Him and Anna Johnson. 806, 807. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We got some logistical changes this hour. We are going to punt on DC Current, presented by LABI. The word from Congressman Carter is that the government's still shut down. So there's your full-on update, right? No, we're going to pivot over, and we've got going to have State Representative Joseph Ogeron and Polly Glover join us in that segment at 8:35. Coming up at 8:15, we're going to skip to the other side of the river. Anna Johnson and Jason Manola. Anna heads up the West Baton Rouge Chamber. Jason is the West Baton Rouge Parish President. That's we're going to talk about some of the events on the West Side coming up. They've got their lead conference coming up and a whole number of other things as well. Right now, though, it's time for us to get caught up with one of our favorites, Mary Beth Hughes Derrickson from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Mary Beth, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Brian. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic as well. So I want to dive right in, since neither of us has a dog in the hunt in the baseball playoffs.
I know. Very sad, but, you know.
Hey, here's the way I'm looking at it, though. As far as I'm concerned, Major League Baseball season ended on June 1. So my Mets won the whole thing.
That's a good way of looking at it. I actually didn't finish. My husband and I watched the Dodgers-Brewers game last night, but we didn't finish it.
Mm-hmm.
But did you see that insane play? Did you watch the game last night?
I did not, no.
Okay. Well, anyway, it was kind of crazy. I'll send you the play after we get off air. But,
okay.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm pulling for the Brewers to win it all, but we'll see what happens.
So I would, except there's some rabid Cubs fans in the office, because the Brewers are never there, right? And they're like a bunch of nobodies. Yeah. So we get some rabid Cubs fans in the office. So I appreciate, my tires being full of air. So I will quietly pull for the Brewers too.
I understand self-preservation is important, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk early childhood real quick. Hey, give me just an overall state of the education world right now from LABI's perspective.
Yeah, sure. So early childhood or everything?
Let's start with everything and then squeeze it down to early childhood.
Okay, awesome. So I love talking about this, Brian, because it's very, very good news on the education front. I actually was reading an article from the Boston Globe, ironically, that had the headline, "New England Schools Are Failing, How to Compete with the Southern Surge." And the article was all about specifically Louisiana and how we have just defied expectations and in such a short amount of time have gone from the bottom of the list as far as, with K through 12 to we've gone like 20 or at least 10 or so points up in the rankings. And so I think a lot of that has to do with going back to basics. This is something Dr. Brumley has touted consistently throughout his tenure is let teachers teach. Let's focus on reading and math and just go back to basics. And obviously we're seeing the fruits of that come out in our national scores, in our reading scores. Our fourth grade readers have just gone, are I think number one in the country for growth in reading. So we're just doing really, really well across the board with K through 12. We're also excited because this year is the first year that the new accountability formula is implemented. And the reason we were so supportive of this is, A, it simplifies the entire process. Parents, kids, other stakeholders can look at the accountability formula and know what they're getting with their local schools. Mm-hmm. But B, the work-based learning component. So obviously as the state's chamber, we want to see jobs filled. We want to have skilled folks coming out of high school with credentials and ready to enter the workforce if that is their path and not a 4-year or 2-year university. And we believe the K through 12 accountability formula is going to make huge strides in those areas. So overall, K through 12, we're in a really good spot. Obviously, there's still a lot of room for growth on the early childhood front, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in a second.
Yep.
But K through, I can't say enough good things about Dr. Brumley's administration over at DOE and all the work that they're doing to make these gains.
We're talking with Mary Beth Hughes Derrickson from LABI about education overall, but more specifically early childhood education. Before I get to where we're headed, give me the quick and dirty on where we're at.
Yeah, so we're excited this week. We are releasing, along with LPIC and the Early Childhood Commission, we are releasing the commission's annual report. And the report is going to come out later this week, but it really sets the table on where we are and where we're going. So where are we right now? Just to put it in perspective, Brian, we think that our lack of early childhood care access is a business issue as well as an issue for families and kids. Mm-hmm. So to put it in perspective, lack of early childhood options costs Louisiana employers $762 million each year and $1.3 billion from our state's annual economy. So when employers don't have a reliable workforce because of early childhood issues, whether that's that there's no quality centers in their area, whether that is the cost, because we know that child care is extremely expensive, mm-hmm. it hurts their bottom line. And so as the state's chamber, that is something that we've been very passionate about in coming up with solutions. And thankfully, where we have come a long way in the past 5 years. So specifically, the report lays out where we are. So some dedicated legislators dedicated 5 specific revenue sources for the Early Childhood Education Fund, yep. which matches the effort of local communities. And the fund seeded the fund with $40 million in 2022. We're incentivizing local investment and business investment in early child care. And then I think what gets the most attention, Brian, is the CCAP funding. So in 2020, the CCAP program had a funding level of $11.2 million. That we have increased that to $78.5 million in fiscal year 2026. But with that said, that's not enough, and the plan also lays out some recommendations moving forward. But one thing I really want to mention, Brian, is last session, the Workforce Readiness Tax Credit was expanded. So what that means is businesses now are incentivized to invest in their employees' child care, and that can look as the employer investing in their employees' child care, which means that employee can be more readily available to come to work. They don't have the financial burden that they would have had their employer not invested in their child care, and it just gets business involved in this problem because it hurts the business, it hurts the family, and it ultimately hurts the child when care is not accessible. So to wrap that thought up, we're in a much better place than we were 5 years ago, but we have a long way to go.
How significant is that workforce child care tax credit?
I believe it was $5,000. It's now moved up to $15,000 in the amount that an employer can invest in their employees' child care. But if that is incorrect, I'm gonna have to look whenever I get off of this interview. But I believe that was the amount. It was pretty significant.
We got just a couple minutes left with Mary Beth Hughes Derrickson from LABI talking about the report that's coming out. I skipped right past the biggest question. When does the report actually come out?
Yes, it will most likely come out. It's going to come out this week. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say it's coming out tomorrow, but it's definitely coming out within the next few days. Okay. So we will keep you posted on that.
Okay, and without diving into too much of it, because I know it is not released yet, though. But we're going to see. I mean, along with all the investments you've already talked about, the recommendations are for even more. Is this just a matter of success begetting? I use this phrase so many times now. Is this a matter of success begetting success? Like as we see better and better results, we want to double down on those results.
Absolutely. And the reality is, Brian, we can celebrate all of these wins and the work of LPIC has been a huge leader on this, as has the Early Childhood Commission. Representative Barbara Freiberg and Senator Beth Mizell chair this commission, and they've done incredible work. But when you think about the number of kids that are underserved still in the state of Louisiana, we're looking at 100,000 kids that are underserved. And so those are kids that might not be ready for kindergarten. Those are parents of those children that are not able to enter the workforce because they can't afford childcare. So the need is extremely great. And so I do want to recognize the strides we've made, but it's critical that the business community get involved in solving this problem, and in addition to state government.
And from there, you just, build on what works moving forward.
Right.
And the formula's there.
The formula's there. I think ultimately it's creating awareness around this issue, which I think again, in that area too, we've made big strides, but investing additional dollars in the CCAP program, in the Early Childhood Education Fund, and continue to adopt business-friendly policies and letting businesses know, and that's part of our job, letting businesses know what tax credits and incentives are already on the books for them so that they can invest in their employees' childcare. I really believe that if we cannot solve this problem without the business community, and so if we have business leaders listening to this right now, I would urge them to contact us, contact your local, LPIC, other groups that are really passionate about making this work. The Workforce Commission, other groups, because it really is critical. We won't get this done without the support of the business community.
We will take a deeper dive once the full report is out. In the meanwhile, we always appreciate the time.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. She's Mary Beth Hughes Derrickson from LABI. We're running long. Quick break. Come back. We'll hop across the river to West Baton Rouge Chamber and the West Baton Rouge Parish President next. $819 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to get caught up on all things West Side. We've got the West Baton Rouge Parish President in with us. We've got Anna Johnson from the West Baton Rouge Area Chamber, West Baton Rouge Parish Chamber on with us as well. Sorry, I had BRAC on. Nope, they're not even BRAC anymore.
I know.
I cannot keep anything straight this morning. Welcome aboard. Jason, Anna, welcome. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for having us.
No, glad to have you in here. Let's start off with y'all have a big conference coming up we want to talk about for sure, but Anna, I want you to kind of take the lead on this is the election season that's not the sexy election season, right?
Is any election season sexy?
I mean, when you've got big names like New Orleans saw 40% turnout on Saturday, but, here in Baton Rouge, we're looking at some millages for Thrive EBR. Y'all are looking at some things on the west side. So they're not big ticket items as far as you're not electing a president, but it's still important to your community.
Very important, and I think Jason would echo that. We're coming off of a ballot earlier this year where some of the millages in West Baton Rouge didn't get renewed, and I think it's because they were stuck on a ballot for other things that people just really weren't jiving with, and so we ended up being collateral damage. And so here we are, round two, and we've got some millages that are up for renewal. So I'm going to punt it to Jason. We have royalty in the house. The president's in the house.
So first of all, welcome into the studio. It's your first time in the studio, right?
First time in studio, but I have been on your show.
You were on the show when you were first running. I remember that. So welcome aboard. Welcome in the studio. Won't be your last time for sure. So talk to me about what's on the ballot.
Yes, as Anna was mentioned earlier, we have a drainage renewal tax that's coming up November 15th. Early voting starts November 1st through 8th. And as she mentioned, it was on the ballot earlier at the same time that we had all the amendments on the ballot. And, I'm not one to lay blame. I take ownership in it. We obviously did not do a good enough job of presenting to our local residents what this tax was for. And how important it is to West Baton Rouge Parish continued growth. This is a renewal. This is not a new tax.
Right.
It's been since 1985. The drainage tax in West Baton Rouge Parish has been in existence. 7.2 mills generates about $6 million for West Baton Rouge Parish per year. It is a dedicated tax, 100% dedicated to our drainage department. So it can't be spent on any other functions of the parish government.
But walk me through process here. This was already shot down, but now being put back up again. Is that right?
That's correct.
So what happens to drainage in the meanwhile? I mean, is it because millages are collected with property taxes, so that's pretty much annually. Y'all have been able to float thus far, right?
Right. We have been allowed to continue to collect to 2026.
Okay.
So we're still collecting those taxes at this time. But again, it would be extremely detrimental to our parish if this thing does not prevail in our next November.
What are some of the issues on the other side of the river when it comes to drainage? I mean, there's standard infrastructure and whatnot, but y'all have some pretty unique circumstances.
Yes, we actually have about 700 miles of canals that we maintain on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's big. And of course, we're blessed by having the Mississippi River on one side and the Intercoastal Canal. Process is just getting the water to those different, mostly to the intercoastal and to other drainage arterials that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. So drainage is on there. Is that the only millage we're looking at?
We also have the school board has 2 millage renewals, and those are also dedicated renewals for teacher salaries and teacher pay. And our library tax has a renewal also on the same ballot.
And the library one was collateral damage too. That was one I feel like everybody thought everybody's going to show up and vote for the library tax. Like, who wouldn't vote for it? And then voter turnout was low, and so again, that one ended up being collateral damage. But it's the dominoes effect, kind of like Jason was saying. Like, these are important millages to renew, because if you don't, your services are going to decrease. We're going to have to lay off staff. Your insurance might increase. So there are so many different legs attached to these millage renewals that I don't think people understand.
Oh, no, absolutely. And we also have the way too often crossing of the streams of the different roles of government on a local level, on a municipal level, on a parish level. Your government, your taxes, your millages, that they actually serve you here locally.
Right.
And when you have, let's just say, when you have a Doge mentality, and they can go in and just completely blitz through the federal government and cut this and cut that, and we don't need this and we don't need that. It's not the same on a state level, and it's sure as heck not the same on a local level. Your dollar for dollar return on investment is 100% when it's here.
And that's correct. And the other piece of that puzzle is that we support our local municipalities.
Right.
So it's a parish-wide tax. So we do a lot of drainage work within our municipalities as requested, as needed. And that's just being cost effective. It doesn't make sense for all 3 of our towns and cities to have their own drainage departments. It's just not cost feasible for them to do so.
Right.
It makes no sense. But we also, as a parish, have been extremely fiscally responsible. I mean, we rolled back 5.75 mills this year. Roll back mills. Yeah. You don't hear that too often in a lot of parish government. But we every year, as part of our budgeting process, we look at all of our funds and see where there's an opportunity to return taxpayers' dollars to the and we do that. So we're being fiscally responsible. But this is critical, like Anna was mentioning earlier. If this renewal doesn't pass, and I hate to be the one that says what if it doesn't happen, but the only other funding source we have is our general fund. So if you have to start taking dollars from your general fund, all services across the board in West Baton Rouge Parish will be greatly impacted and affected by this.
Well, y'all don't have a lot of. There's no wiggle room in the budget. There's not. There's no. I mean, it's not like you have a surplus of people just hanging around.
Right. Exactly.
We got a couple minutes left. We're talking with Anna Johnson from the West Baton Rouge Chamber, and of course Jason Manola, the West Baton Rouge Parish President. Want to pivot over a big conference coming up as well that I know you wanted to talk about, Anna.
Yeah, so the LEAD conference starts today. So it's today and tomorrow at LaBerge, and this is the Louisiana Economic Alliance for Development, or our state economic development arm is doing their annual meeting, and so that kicks off today at LaBerge. And they actually rebranded from LADIA, so it used to be Louisiana Industrial Development Alliance. Like, it was a mouthful.
Okay.
So they did a full rebrand last year, Mandy Mitchell and her whole team, and then brought in Stacey Romero, who's the executive director now. And they put together this 2-day conference where we're going to be talking everything from site selection to policy and really local and everything in between. So we kick off today. Susan Bourgeois is giving the keynote today, and then tomorrow, House Speaker Philip de Villiers is going to be keynote speaker. So a lot of things that are going to be sandwiched in there, but talking workforce and education development, especially with all the manufacturing boom that's going on right now, and how we can partner locally and develop curriculums and programs to staff these projects.
Right.
And then just, like I said, talking everything from site selection, what that means, and how we're attracting businesses to Louisiana. So,
is there and we had Lori Melancon on earlier. How much teamwork is working right now? Not just on a parish level, not just on a regional level, but on a state level. I feel like we're seeing more of it now than we ever have before.
I would agree with that. I feel like the last 2 years, just with the leadership that's come in, it's been more of like an and equation. So it's not BRAC or West Baton Rouge. It's BRAC and West Baton Rouge Chamber. It's West Baton Rouge Chamber and Louisiana Economic Development. And so they've been really intentional about giving us a seat at the table, giving locals more of a voice in what we want to see. And then also our lawmakers have been fantastic. And we've worked with so many on different programs, bills, and legislation that will help the state move forward. And so a lot of those actually affect West Baton Rouge Parish just because we are heavy industrial. So you're starting to see more of that. But like I said, and I told you this in January of this year, my prediction would be that we're going to see a manufacturing boom. And I think you're starting to see that.
Well,
now,
we are, but it's going to take a little bit to get sifted through all the logistics, sifted through all the red tape. Any hesitancy along the way is just going to require a little bit of patience. And just weirdly enough, when you look at Lori, when you look at Susan Bourgeois, when you look at yourself, I don't see patience there. It's y'all are just shots of espresso.
There's never patience. I never had patience, so I don't know. And everybody wants now. And I think what you're starting to see is the growing pains that we're having, but they're good pains to have, you know? And so I feel like change scares a lot of people, but I think
it does.
I think it's just hold on, we're getting there, and we're going through the weeds and trying to figure some of these things out, especially with the data centers. But like I said, I think these are good problems to have. And anytime big companies want to make investments in our communities or even in our state, like Hyundai, that's huge.
Yes.
You know how many states would kill for that? And,
all of them.
You know, the White House made an announcement about that. And so just to have sort of a platform to be able to put our state where we're typically last in everything.
Right.
To be able to say we landed this, I mean, that's a win for all of us.
Well, but now, like, especially with Hyundai, we're in the hurry up and wait phase. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. This is when I feel like we pick things apart. This is when we.
But these are the things, and Jason will tell you, that help move other things along, like infrastructure projects. You know, because anytime you have big projects like this, the first thing that you have to do is make those adjustments on that end. As you know, traffic has never been our vice in this state. Let's just be real.
Right.
And so when we get these projects, I think it kind of expedites the timeline on some of these things. So these are all good things. It makes the community better as a whole.
In the meanwhile, Jason, we're going to go back to you to close it out. We've got about 60 seconds left. I want to run down the details one more time for voters in West Baton Rouge Parish, what they need to be on the lookout for. What is it listed as? Because language on a ballot's always important. What are we looking to get here?
Yeah, again, it's a 10-year. This is a renewal. This is not a new tax. This has been on, West Baton Rouge has had a drainage tax since 1985, and it's been renewed ever since. It is a renewal that is a dedicated tax that fully supports our drainage department, and it's something that is vital to West Baton Rouge Parish.
What does it look like on the ballot? It's listed as drainage?
The drainage renewal.
Okay. All right, that easy on the west side. He is Jason Manola, the West Baton Rouge Parish President. She is Anna Johnson with the West Baton Rouge Chamber. Thank you all so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. We are due up for news, traffic, weather. After that, we're going to check in with Polly Glover and Representative Joe Ogeron next. All right, Joe.
Thank you so much.
Kill mics, please. I actually need 60 seconds. 837 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're going to be talking Port Fourchon in just a minute, but I need that minute to remind you about the folks at Vex European. VexEuropean.com is the website. If you drive a European vehicle, highly recommend you check out VexEuropean.com. Hit the little vehicles tab when you get there. Make sure your make of vehicle's on there. If your make of vehicle's on there, you're in luck. You can now be connected with a master level, expert level technician for your make of vehicle. Give you a perfect example. I drive an 18-year-old Mercedes. My car is old enough to vote. And she hums like she's brand spanking new because of the Vinny and his team at Vex European. They actually closed down last week to go get some training, which I love. Can point to me a mechanic shop that will physically close up shop to make sure that their people are on the forefront. Their people know everything that they need to know about the latest technology, techniques, everything about your make of vehicle. And then they're back open again. Opened back up yesterday, and they're here for you. Check them out online at VexEuropean.com. All right, we've got in studio Polly Glover with us. We are talking about the Port Fourchon terraces and living shoreline. This is part of Restore or Retreat. Polly, welcome back to Talk 107.3. How are you?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
No, always love having y'all on. I don't know if like more coastal matters like get lost in translation the further inland you get, right? But this is something that has been important to Louisiana for some time now. Well, since they built levees, this has been important to Louisiana. So talk to me a little bit, and we're going to bring Representative Joe Orgeron on with us in just a second. But set the table for what we're talking about here with the Port Fourchon terraces.
Absolutely. Well, you know, Louisiana's coastline is vanishing.
Yes.
We all are well aware of that. So we have a upcoming project down in Port Fourchon, and it's known as the Ducks Unlimited Fourchon Living Terraces. It's a set of terraces and living shoreline that we're working on. It's actually one of the state's largest coastal restoration projects, and the phase that we'll be working on is around 13,000 linear feet. We've already completed phases 1 and phase 2, which was 87,000 linear feet.
Wow.
So it's a large-scale coastal restoration to help restore those fragile wetlands.
I don't like to be graded on my math, but that sounds like a total of 100,000.
It is,
okay,
correct.
See?
It's a large-scale restoration that we are excited to implement this third and final phase.
Let's bring on State Representative Joe Orgeron with us. Representative Orgeron, good morning. Welcome back. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Brian. Happy to be with you.
Always love having you on here. Let's talk a little bit about the work that Polly's doing, the work that Restore and Retreat's doing, and how it actually physically affects terra firma in Louisiana.
Well, you got an area between the beach front in Fourchon and LA1 that historically had what we call a bunch of cheniers, a bunch of long, linear, slender pieces of land that were there. That over time, erosion and wave action have eaten up because there's been no new sediment deposition in that area. And what Ducks Unlimited did was a great project to recreate those terraces, those slender strips of land. And what Polly and I and Restore Retreat are doing are getting the volunteers. We got funding from the Wisdom Trust, Wisdom Land Trust people, as well as the Greater New Orleans Foundation, to basically buy the vegetation, the mangroves and the smooth cord grass, to plant on those and give them a little bit of a head start on maintaining their sustainability and their resiliency. And these act as basically wave breaks in this area to be able to keep the infrastructure like LA1, the connection between Port Fourchon and Grand Isle, our only inhabited barrier island, with a little bit higher level of resiliency. So Ducks Unlimited and ConocoPhillips pretty much did the vast majority of the work in building these terraces, and we're coming back and just adding the window dressings on them and giving them a little bit of higher sustainability.
Okay, so let's talk about the sustainability for a little bit. How much of a project like this is set it and forget it, and how much is going to be just completely ongoing?
I believe, the Ducks Unlimited built the terraces. They did all the excavation work and put it, and then now we're coming in and, like I said, jump-starting the vegetative process hopefully without any big storms or any large weather activities, the plants that we put down will get a foothold and basically grow, and that'll give these terraces a lock and a hold in that area to be able to stay there for the long term.
Polly, let's move back to you real quick. Talk to me about that vegetation a little bit, because this is one of those ones where you really have to, pardon the pun, you got to get in the weeds. And once you nerd out on it and understand why y'all are doing what you're doing and how, it starts to get really, really cool.
Yeah, so we're actually going to be planting some more black mangroves, which there's been a lot of talk, of course, about the benefits of mangroves. So the black mangroves, which are predominantly what we have here in Louisiana, they are truly a super plant for our wetlands. They the roots, once the plants start to establish, actually trap sediment. So instead of losing the land with erosion, the plants come in, they trap the sediment, and they help to rebuild the land. Additionally, though, it also supports increased biodiversity there in the region. So we're going to plant around 7,000 black mangroves and around 7,000 vermilion smoothcord. Both of those plants, once established, will allow for the successful restoration of the area. And we'll periodically go back and monitor the vegetation, see how it's doing, and checking up on it to see if it is successful.
Vermilion smooth what?
Vermilion smoothcord. It's a locally sourced smoothcord grass.
Okay.
All of our plants are coming out of Montague, Louisiana. They're all locally grown. They're better adapted to our unique sediment conditions that we have here in Louisiana versus an out-of-state, vegetation.
How much risk is there that it just, how sure are we that it'll take?
Well, I can tell you this, that the plants that we had planted prior to the snow that hit Louisiana, they are doing really, really well.
Okay.
They had taken about 12 inches of snow. The black mangroves produced pretty good salt tolerant. They were salt tolerant and cold tolerant. And so we were able to go out and check on them a couple of weeks ago. We were actually, pretty surprised that they had established and they were, root bound and holding the sediment in and doing what we actually intended them to do. The volunteers will get the opportunity to also plant alongside one of the leaders in global mangrove restoration. They're coming in from South Florida to plant with us. From South Florida, Keith and Kyle Rosen will be in. You can get a chance to come out and chat mangroves with them too. And it's a great benefit to the coast.
Yeah, I remember learning about mangroves and that the unique way that the root system does trap in sediment. And it's like, I remember like watching a video. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And then immediately I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? Like it gets exciting when you get to see the actual application.
It is. It's really exciting when Joe and I are out there and we're checking on what we call our grandchildren out there because we're checking on the plants. But Brian, the public doesn't understand that mangroves are really salt tolerant. They actually tolerate those higher salinity levels, and so they really are a super plant for our wetlands.
So that's why I asked about the likelihood that it takes, is because of the salt tolerance it's everything in this equation.
They are strong, salt tolerant, heat tolerant plants. They produce, a propagule, and we collect those seeds usually in October. Then those are reseeded, and using the locally sourced, locally grown mangroves, of course, give us a little bit of extra added protection.
Representative Ozier, I want to go back to you real quick just to talk about what it takes to pull a plan like this together, pull people like this together. I know we know about the work that Restore or Retreat is doing. We know about some of the partners. But from a state level, is there buy-in from the state government here?
No, this is pretty much, the port is a big supporter. The industry that's in the port is all a supporter of increased resiliency for the port. CPRA, of course, really appreciates all that we do. We stay in touch, but I'm the executive director of Restore Retreat with Miss Polly there, so this is basically kind of that side of my dual job that I'm focusing on is just following orders from her. She's the project coordinator. She lines it up. I kind of do the technical website and other things and getting the volunteers lined up, technically, and Miss Polly does the rest, and I just show up and do the work.
So it's more of a passion project on your end and not something that makes its way back into the Capitol.
Absolutely. This was come after Ida and my hometown surviving what we call a 200-year storm and our levees holding up. Riding the levees with our levee manager and seeing the marsh had basically sacrificed for the sustainment of those levees. Seeing the marsh all tore up, and he said, we have to replace this marsh. We have to continue to do things. Just adding dirt on top of the levees is not the only solution. It helps on that one day when the water comes up, but if you don't have some, the barrier islands, the brackish marsh, and everything else in between, land bridges, etc., all the other tools in the master plan toolbox, the slope of the levee won't hold up if the Gulf of Mexico is beating on it, consistently. So that's why all of these individual parts and pieces are important, including those terraces and the mangroves that we plant on them.
We got about 1 minute left with State Representative Joseph Ogeron, and we've got Polly Glover in from Restore or Retreat. I'm going to throw this question out there. Either one of y'all can answer it if you like. But with all the loss of land, loss of coastline that Louisiana's had over the last 100 years or so, however long, what's the likelihood that we see a day where we have a net gain in our restoration efforts?
Until we reconnect the river that built all the land, you got to imagine. Basically, the last bedrock that's accessible is up in Baton Rouge or north of Baton Rouge. So everything south of Baton Rouge was built by the Mississippi River over thousands and thousands of years, and until we reconnect the rivers to the estuaries, that'll be really, really tough to make a significant change and grow back land in a meaningful, sustainable way. That's my opinion. Polly can chime in.
Yeah, Brian, I think from Joe's and my perspective, it's both a passion for he and I think that we've both certainly been doing it a long time. And I think the public needs to understand that coastal wetlands loss, whether you're in Baton Rouge, Shreveport, or in South Louisiana, or quite frankly, if you're all the way in Washington, D.C., you should care about Louisiana's natural resources and our vanishing coastline. We greatly appreciate you continuing to support our efforts.
Well, look, no offense. I don't want to live on the coast. I live in Baton Rouge. So
but the coast is approaching Baton Rouge.
I know. So let's do what we can to stave that off. Thank y'all so much, both of y'all, so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Brian, thank you.
Representative Ogeron, appreciate it. He's already gone. Your Money Now, coming up right now.
Notice you made he and I both pause.
Do what?
It gets personal for he and I.
Kill. 8:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Couple more minutes before we hand off to Moon Griffon and the Moon Griffon Show. I told you it was content overload this hour, way more guests than we have time, and that continues right now. Angie Waddell is with Folds of Honor. The Patriot Shootout's coming up. Angie, welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Doing very well on this end as well. Tell me all about the Patriot Shootout for this year.
So we've been doing this event for the last, I think, 16 or 17 years. It is a 2-day event. We do a party on Sunday night. We do a golf tournament on Monday. And our benefit is actually for Folds of Honor, which I know Guarantee has been promoting Folds of Honor for years now. And our deal with Folds National is that every penny we raise from this event goes to Louisiana families. I think over the last 16 or 17 years, we've raised over $5 million for Louisiana families.
That's an incredible number. Over how many years you said?
About 16.
Okay. Wow. And what's our goal for this year?
Our goal for this year is really a little bit different. We really want to really spread the word about what Folds does. I mean, there are a lot of people in our community who still, after all this time, don't know what Folds does. For those who don't know, it's an organization that raises scholarship funds for spouses and children of fallen and wounded soldiers and first responders. So the goal here is to provide an education. Their tagline is honor their sacrifice, educate their legacy.
Yep.
And there are so many people who could potentially be eligible for these scholarships or who just want to help out and really give to a good cause, especially since it's affecting local families. And so many people don't know about it. So this year we've done something different. We are no longer doing a big, long ceremony that's a bit more of a dirge. You know, it's been kind of somber in the past years. And we decided this year we're going to open it up to the public for $50 a person. Anyone can come, and you get food and drink at the LaBerge Ballroom. LaBerge is one of our big sponsors. They provide food and drink. You get a silent opportunity to participate in a silent auction, live auction. We will have a speaker from Folds speak for about 10 minutes. Stephen Federico, he is got an amazing story. He's a recipient of the Folds of Honor Scholarship. And then we're going to have Kicks Band, which is a local band, play for live entertainment for 2 hours. So I don't know where you can go in town and pay $50 to get food, drink, and live entertainment all for a good cause.
No, absolutely, and on a Sunday night to boot. I mean, that's
right.
That's the Sunday night before the golf tournament on Monday, and that is coming up actually this Sunday, October 19th, with the pre-tournament party out there at L'Auberge Casino. Where can folks go if they want to donate? Where can they go if they want to buy tickets?
The best place to go is actually on your website. There is a banner, and if you click on the banner, it takes you directly to our One Cause link, where you can actually either donate or get party tickets. It says party tickets on there, and you'll receive a QR code to enter the door. And we've got all kinds of wonderful things on the live auction. We've got a lot of golf things there. We also have a gift certificate from the Queen of Sparkles. We have several local restaurants that are participating, some Kendra Scott items, some things for the ladies, some things for the fellows. We've got a rifle that was donated from Lipsy's for the live auction, which Gordy Rush is going to be our auctioneer this year.
Uh-oh.
So it's going to be a great, great time.
Very good stuff. Angie, thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yep, and that's coming up on Sunday. Go to talk1073.com. You'll see the click-through when you get there. That is going to do it for us. Moon Griffon is up next. We will see you tomorrow.
Made a call to one of my guys who's 3 different parishes, the parishes that are really against it, and they said that they don't know of anything like that. They ain't heard anything. But he's gonna call. I'm gonna be shocked. Matter of fact, the guy that's against it, he'd be shocked. You don't think Jeff can't go back on the business, man. did not see that. That's what I'm saying.